visualize yourself as Tara, and then you're sending out all the things that the world is needing. Some are wrathful, that you destroy weapons and stuff, and like, you know, the environment. Some are supporting, some are very peaceful, some are healing. So it's nice. It's a very nice practice. And then tomorrow evening, because here it's New Year, it's the 31st, then we practice the whole night.
Wow.
Starting at 6 in the evening and finishing at 6 in the morning. So it's a great way to start the new day, the new year, also the new day. So, right. So how is everybody? Hi, Audie. Wow, you know, I've been meaning to call you, but somehow I just couldn't find the time, like these last 4 or 5 days. But in the new year, I'll have more time. So, oh, and Leora Price is here, and the other Leora, and wow, great! What an honor.
What an honor.
I've just written you that I hope I'll stay till the end, because I find that I'm getting very, very tired in this hour. So,
you know what it is, Leora?
Huh?
This is old age. This is old age, you know.
Maybe.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely, because me is the same. If I wouldn't have to talk, I probably also would fall asleep. So it's okay. So, and that goes for anybody, you know. If you feel that you want to go and it's more helpful that you're leaving, you just leave. That's fine. Absolutely no problem. Yeah, be kind to yourself. This is so important, that we are kind to ourselves and really take good care of ourselves. Because the thing is, you know, we're here with the, oh, sorry, Tom. Do you need to say something?
No, just thank you for coming. Thank you for all of us for coming, for participating. And just want to remind that next week you won't be able to do this session, but we'll have a meeting where we will discuss the topics of this lesson or other lessons, or we'll share our experiences, much like the last time, which was great, I think. So if you want, if anyone wants to come, is very welcome, and we'll have a nice group meeting and discussion.
Yeah, you know, it's very valuable to do these things, that you share experiences, because we can also learn from each other, and we learn to listen. We learn to listen in a kind of kind way, in an interested way. The thing is why I can't next Wednesday, because the Vipassana group, who is downstairs here, they asked me to give a talk about relationships. So I said, well, I'm probably not the right one to do this. So because I have a very easy relationship because I don't have one. So that's very easy. So we'll see how it goes. I'm not sure. But anyway, so I said yes, and then we'll see. We probably have to talk about unattached love, which we will also talk today, which is very, very difficult to do. But I would like to start, if it's okay with you, with some meditation. Meditation is such a big word, you know, but to relax and to stabilize the mind, maybe that's a better word, to be aware. To, even though when you are very tired in the evening, since Leora Price said she's very tired, you can take your tiredness as object that you observe. It's quite interesting to see actually what happens then, because then you go into another space. Not to make the tiredness go away. You know, this is very important also. When we do these things, you observe them in order to see them and to study them and to see their nature. You're not observing them for them to go away. So please, you know, don't use meditation as kind of become always teary and always jerky and always here and always did. No, meditation, or what we call awareness or mindfulness, is to recognize and to see what's going on. And then the mind can actually adjust itself. Then we don't have to worry anymore, because we are in this thing that is called awareness. But if you use awareness and you look at your mind state, which you dislike, in a way, then you bring the dislike into the awareness, and then your awareness is not pure anymore. Yeah, your motivation is not so pure. So we look at all the mind states out of curiosity, be it tiredness, be it excitement, be it restlessness, be it openness, be it peace, be it love. Doesn't matter what it is, and we just notice it. We experience them. Yeah. And then slowly, we will know, what to do. So, because we do have innate intelligence also. We have innate openness, spaciousness, kindness, and intelligence. So, but because we want to be better, and because we don't want to be sad, we don't want to be tired, we don't want to be depressed, we don't want to be angry. So when these mind states are there, we actually add more pressure by not wanting them, instead of just relaxing and just but to observe them. This is a big difference, to just relax and not do anything, than to to know what's going on and to be aware of them, make the step out of that emotion and to just observe it, and then they can transform. Yeah. So it's never, come on, pull yourself together. This does not help at all. It's always just relax. And we don't even tell ourselves when we say, oh, we tell other people because we know it helps. Yeah. But we hardly ever say to ourselves, just relax, it's okay. Like a good mother who kind of, tries to calm the child down. Yeah, nothing is okay, but you still say it's okay, isn't it? When your kids come home and they're like, what's the first thing you say? What do you tell them? Kol beseder, no? Something like that. Even though it's not okay, but the child needs to relax, it needs to feel secure. And this we can do with ourselves also. Yeah, because whatever is going on, it's impermanent, it's just labeled, it's not totally true. So then we have all reasons to relax. Okay. So connect with your body. And again, we do this not to become a better person. We just do it to be aware, to get to know ourselves with friendliness, with kindness. So important. Look at yourself with kindness. Try to feel that, the same way you would feel kindness and love towards a child. Try to bring that into your meditation. I'm a good person. Don't feel shy to say that. It's so necessary. When we start to believe in our goodness, then we will become good people. And we can accept ourselves the way we are, with our dark sides and the positive sides. Then we can live the kindness and the goodness. And then also try to move from your head to your heart. Yeah, don't be so up in the thoughts. Just make a determination for, so shall we say, 10 minutes. I will choose not to follow the thoughts. I will choose to really observe what's going on in terms of perceptions, sensations, thoughts, and emotions without interfering, just being the observer. This is my choice. Don't force yourself. Choose it. Out of kindness for myself, so I can get to know myself in a more intimate way. And then when you feel that these thoughts are actually relaxing your body, then you choose an object, and usually it's the breath. We give the mind an object, a job, because it wants to have a job, otherwise it goes into thoughts. And then again, calm yourself down. Meditation is not complicated. It's just being aware when you're breathing in that you're breathing in. It is just being aware when you're breathing out that you're breathing out. You don't need to do anything with these things. You don't need to adjust. You don't need to manipulate. Just be aware, like a mirror, reflecting what's going on. It's very exciting. It's very energizing also. Okay, so we do that for 10 minutes. And if you're getting lost in thoughts, just notice it, bring the mind back. Again, check your body, whether it is relaxed or whether you have developed any tensions. A very quick and easy way to relax the body is when you think that you're breathing in, and when you're breathing out, the body seems to become bigger, like you become very spacious, very open. When you're breathing in again, you notice the sensations. When you're breathing out, you become open and spacious. Because when the body is tense, then the mind cannot become stable. When the mind is not stable, it cannot become clear, but you can't force the mind to become stable. But still, you need a little bit of effort to kind of push the awareness towards the object. It's difficult to explain. It can only be experienced. And then again, we check our motivation for being here. It's kind of giving the mind a direction. Kind of, why am I doing this? And because we're talking about patience. So it's good just to ask yourself, okay, what does it mean to me being patient? Do I really see this as a value that I carry with me almost naturally? And if we can't see the value for ourselves, maybe remember when somebody was patient with you, how did you feel? I mean, a good example when we go all the way back to our childhood, when our mom or dad explained something and we didn't understand immediately, and they explained again and again and again, very patiently, didn't get angry, didn't scream at us. So again, just try to remember situations like this and then see what it does to your heart, how you feel. That even after all these many years, we still feel the calming and soothing effect of patience when there's love present. When love is there, patience comes very easy. So then the sensation might fade away because we go into other thoughts. And then maybe remember a situation when you were patient with somebody else. How did you feel? Consciously choosing not to get angry. How did you feel during the contact with the person? How did you feel afterwards? Then maybe remember a moment where you were not patient. I know it's not pleasant, but we need to see this. We need to experience what impatient is doing to us. So don't judge yourself. Again, just observe. Remember a moment, or we can change it around and see what it does to others. Remember a moment when somebody was impatient with you. How did we feel? What effect does it have on us even now? And then in order not to judge the other person, we see that we ourselves were getting impatient and angry at times. So then how do we feel while we are impatient? Usually we feel quite righteous and we think it's like a good way, a mean to get what we want, isn't it? But how do we feel afterwards? Okay, so our minds are not that developed, and especially when we are tired, it is so easy to get impatient. So sometimes we succeed and sometimes we fail, but it doesn't matter as long as we know where we want to go, as long as we keep holding patience as a value, as a way of life, not as a weakness, but as a strength. And as long as we keep applying the methods that are described in this chapter, at one point, the same way as we're getting angry now, very easily, or upset or impatient, the same way we will have patience in a natural way as a result of applying these methods. So then in order to make the mind a little bit wider, we see that being patient is good for us, but that's not enough. We also think, I'm sick and tired of hurting others with my impatience and anger. One other of my values is that I want to be of benefit to them. But with impatience and anger, I'm just hurting them. So may I be able to develop my value of patience further in order to be of benefit to whoever I meet during the day. That's the purpose of this practice. All right. Okay, so we were at verse 69, I think, last time. Yeah, we finished here. When I've seen this to be so, I should strive for what is meritorious in order to certainly bring about loving thoughts between all. Like, the homework was kind of What did I write down? Something about, can I solve this problem without anger? Can I do this without anger? Yeah, when we feel that impatience is arising, because impatience is already has anger in it. It's a mind that is very tight, and the love is kind of gone. We're not so concerned about the happiness of this other person, actually not at all. And so, but sometimes we think we need the energy of impatience, and I'm very consciously say we, because I see that I'm reacting in the same way. So did anybody try to do that as an antidote, kind of to let go of the anger by thinking, can I do this? Can I solve this problem? Or can I solve the situation without anger when you feel that you're getting tight? Or did you not understand what I had said last time? I know sometimes, I go, because the way I think is around four corners. So then I try to explain sometimes and people don't understand what I mean. For me, it's crystal clear what I'm saying. But when people listen to me, they go like, So what I've started here in Switzerland with the people that we do it here, when I give homework, I send them a WhatsApp, for everybody. So that we all kind of at least have the same words. Did anybody do this who was here last time?
I tried doing it.
Sigal, okay. And what happened?
Something really annoying happened. And then I said, I'm not going to get angry.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't get angry. And then my mind said, something is wrong.
Yeah, exactly. This is great. Oh, yeah.
Something is really wrong.
Uh-huh.
And then I had these thoughts that were bugging me, that something is wrong and probably I'm not doing something right and I'm cheating myself. And that was the discussion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, and then when it got really worse, I said to myself, why don't you think about it as a seed planted before? Maybe I checked myself, did you do something similar? And this is just coming back at me and now I feel how it feels. And the answer was yes.
Mm-hmm.
I said, okay.
Yeah, okay.
And I dropped it.
Yeah.
So I don't feel satisfied. I'm not proud of myself.
You don't have
I wasn't angry.
You don't have to be proud of yourself. It's okay, We're just doing this. But yeah, it's interesting to see when we don't get angry, we're surprised. We never get that. We're never surprised when we get angry. But we're surprised when others get angry at us, isn't it?
Yes.
We go like, oh, why are you getting angry? There's no reason to get angry, and all these kind of things. But when we don't get angry, then we are surprised. When we get angry, no, we're not surprised because it's justified. And it's such strong, strong, strong habits that we have. Yeah. So this is why, again, the reflection we did before the class, so important. Do I want to be patient, or do I see myself as a friar if I'm patient? Am I afraid of this, or is this really one of my values? And this is why, we go into situations again and again, replaying them in our mind. How does it feel when somebody is impatient with me? That means other people feel exactly the same. Yeah. Now, how does it feel when somebody's patient? What happened to you when you were thinking about your parents? If you had parents that were patient with you, what happened? Netta is just nodding. So what happened, Netta?
That was pleasant.
Yeah.
That was pleasant.
Exactly.
I want to say that last time I was very happy to say about the cars that came and I was rejoicing and this worked great. But this week it worked not so great.
Yeah.
When I was running and came motorbikes,
Oh, those
very smelly and noisy and horrible in a path that they're not allowed to be. And then I was telling myself, Neta, rejoice, rejoice.
Yeah, right.
And I was telling my partner, my husband, also we were. It was with humor because I think it was. No, I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
It was hard.
Yeah,
Maybe the humor was okay, made it lighter.
The humor makes it lighter. So we just did the 21 Taras, and Tara number 10, she's a red one who kind of dispels all tensions with laughter, with humor. So she's one of my favorite ones. So it's really good because we can laugh about ourselves. And this is also what I said, this is samsara. So sometimes we succeed in the practice and sometimes we totally fail. But it's actually the failures that we learn the most sometimes, because then we know exactly, like I told you, the situation that I had with this phone call. I knew I shouldn't take the telephone. I took it and I didn't explode like bleh, but I exploded inside. I was so unkind. I was so kind of stiff and not agreeing to anything, not openly. I'm Swiss. I can hide it really well, these kind of things. This is what we learn. But when you do awareness, it's like you still feel that it in here is as cold as an ice block. So, and no, I don't want to help her and these kind of things. This is how it looked inside. Here it sounded quite polite and quite nice, but it was not. So this is what I mean. So we learn, we learn to see, okay, I failed. It's okay. I try again. Like a kid, because here again now the masters are very important because the teachers, the gurus, the masters, they really serve as an example. And especially, I think the Tibetans, because they have gone through such a difficult situation in the 1959, when they were invaded by the Chinese army. Yeah. And then, the masters that are still alive, that lived through that and through prison and through torture. And when you see them, they have zero hatred for the Chinese army because they say, well, they did their job. Why should I hate this soldier who was, I was running away and he was shooting after me. He did his job and of shooting after me. I did my job at running away. So why should I be angry? And this comes from having trained these things before the situation happens. So then it worked. Yeah. But if we don't train before and we try to train in the middle of a situation, it's very difficult that this happens.
I have something.
Please.
I've been in 5 hours traffic with a lot of hungry people.
Angry people.
Hungry, yeah. And there was a lot of car that they bypass us.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it was near to the sea. So I was looking at the sea and I said to myself, wow, so much time I didn't be near to the sea. So it's so beautiful, it's so blue. And then the sun started to go down and the color was amazing. And then it becomes evening and it was the short day at the year. And the stars was something that you cannot see from the place that I'm living. So it was so amazing. And then I realized that I'm something like, it was after 4 hours, that I'm still in the traffic, the people still shouting each other. And I said to myself the same like she said before, like Sigal, why I'm not like them? And I really miss this part of me.
Oh.
That feel something a little bit more hungry, that want to shout, but I couldn't find it. So it was a little bit hard.
So you have to stop to listen to me then. because otherwise, you know, what to do. But you see, if you would have gotten angry, you wouldn't have seen the sea blue, you wouldn't have seen the stars as beautiful. This is what anger does. We don't see anything beautiful. You only see the other angry people, and it's their fault, and you start shouting at them. Yeah.
Yeah, but that was the attachment that you are speaking a lot of about it. That
What?
the attachment for the bad seeds that we are still missing sometimes.
Yeah.
So I realized that I still have this attachment sometimes for bad behavior.
Yeah, and I think, you know, especially in the country where you live, this is such a big problem because, you know, people really think you're a friar if you're not getting angry, and they take advantage of you and all this. So it's difficult. I think if one wants to have a big challenge to develop patience, I think Israel would be a good country. India is also a good country, but not because people are inconsiderate. India is a good country because it's so noisy and it's so dirty and it's so smelly, and especially with the noise, you know, it's like there you really have to let go, wanting it to be quiet. So for me, India was great. Like these almost 20 years of India with all the noise, I'm totally noise resistant. So thanks to India. So this is what I mean. So of course, you know, I think Venerable Antonio, he kind of gave a good example at one point. He said, well, if you want to develop patience, like don't go into the most difficult situation. And he said, it's like when you go to India for the first time, and you are, because you don't want to be a tourist, so you go on a local bus, like from the airport to Dharamsala or somewhere, and then they stop on the roadside for lunch, right? Because it's a 12-hour journey. And, you know, they're not stopping in a Western restaurant. They're stopping at the roadside where there's these dabas. How many of you have been to India? So you know what I'm talking about. Okay, many. So
Many,
they stop at this dhaba, and you're the first time in India, and you know you're hungry, and they give you a heap of rice with a bit of dal, and you take the spoon. Of course, you prefer the dal, so you fill the spoon with the dal, and you put it in your mouth, and you go, ugh, because it's burning hot. Yeah, the food at these dhabas is so hot. And if you finish eating it, you will get sick, and your body cannot take it. It's so spicy, it's so hot, because that's how Indians eat. So you have to start with just lots of rice and very little lentils. And then with time you get used to it, and you put more lentils and less rice, and then you get addicted to it. So, you know, at one point when you don't miss your anger anymore, you'll get addicted to patience, and then that's it. So it's the same with patience. We cannot start to practice patience like in very difficult situations, and especially I think not in a society, you know, Switzerland is also getting like this, where people think you're stupid if you're not getting angry. So that's what makes it even more difficult. So this is when like the next verses actually will probably help us a little bit, because we're not just thinking about this life, we're also thinking about next life. Okay, so anyway, I'll just talk and continue, but please, again, don't forget, this is a discussion group. If you want to say something, if you object, or if you agree, or if you have an opinion, then please just open your microphone and say something. Just be totally relaxed and open, as if we are amongst a group of friends, okay? So number 70, for example, when a fire in one house has moved into another house, it is right to get rid of straw and such things that will cause the fire to spread. And then 71, these two go together. Likewise, when the fire of hatred spreads, that whatever my mind is attached, I should immediately get rid of it for fear of my merit being burned. Do you understand the example? Yeah, if a house is on fire, we're not necessarily kind of saving the things. We just look what is going to make the fire spread. And so first we take this away from the house instead of, you know, saving your valuables. That would be much more skillful to do. So when our mind is aflame with anger, what do we, so first we see like what is going on. And again, you know, in order to stay with the anger and to stay in the story, because the first thing is always drop the story, because when we're angry, there's so much exaggeration coming, which we don't see as exaggeration. Yeah. So we drop the story, we see, well, okay, is that kind of what was the spark that made the fire go? And then, as it says here, you know, behind the anger, oh, sorry, don't open. Behind the anger is always attachment. To whatever my mind is attached, I should immediately get rid of it for fear of my merit being burned. Because we did say that, you know, anger burns a lot of merit, but not the merit that you dedicate after you have, you dedicate with bodhicitta, because that merit you have already given away, so it cannot be destroyed. That's quite good to know. This is why dedication with bodhicitta is so important, because it's like all the good things you do, you have given them away. Yeah. So here Shantideva gives very clear instruction on how to cool down when anger is already boiling. He advises us to get rid of the fuel that escalates the aggression. And what is this fuel? This is not going the way I want it to go. This is the fuel for our anger, it's attachment. Attachment to our ideas, how other people should be, how they should behave with me, what they should do. You know, I mean, sometimes we walk around as if we are, I don't know, you know, Emperor Caesar or somebody, that we have the power to tell somebody, now you do this, and then they have to do it. We have so many expectations about what people should do. Yeah. So when we see this, okay, I'm angry because I am attached to, I want things my own way. Yeah. So if we look closely at attachment, we see that without the thread of our stories, it will not last. And we will maybe now we can make a short reflection. Yeah. Because again, with these negative emotions, maybe you remember we talked about inappropriate attention. Do you remember? Yeah, like when these very strong emotions are there, the attention is outside with the object. And that's inappropriate, because this is not taking the straw away from the fire. This is actually pouring fuel on the fire. Because when our mind is with the object, then it finds all the reasons to be angry. Yeah, he did this and he did that, and why didn't he do this and da da da. This is how it goes. Yeah. So appropriate attention would be drop the story and just come inside. Now, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't react. And this is the big mistake that we're making, you know, that we think, okay, if I'm patient and if I have compassion, then I'm not acting. No, you do act, but not with this very tight mind in here, who the ego, I want it to have this way. And sometimes, you know, we are paying costs for this kind of view that are not worthwhile, just because I wanted to have my way, which is not even important. We kind of destroy friendships, or we spend many years by holding on to something, getting angry every day. Because I just, you know, I remember a story. There was an old lady who had a piece of property in her house. Actually, it was here. Yeah. And it's kind of a private way or something. And so the people who own it, is like they didn't want anybody to pass through it. So every time they saw somebody passing through it, which it doesn't destroy anything, somebody just passes through it. You can't even see into their house, you know, just a small pass. But they got angry every time they even looked for somebody who passed. And it was an old couple. And and they would abuse people, open the window and say, oh, this is a private way, Switzerland, okay? this is a private way, don't pass, and this and that. And then we got letters in our letterbox, you know, without signature, but we knew from whom it was. You know, you should not pass through that. It's much easier to go to the bus station if we go this way instead of going that way. That's why. So they were very angry people. And in a way, you know, it's like, if they would have a kind of let go of that idea that, you know, people are not allowed to pass through there, if they would have seen the relativity of this whole thing. Now, of course, in Israel, you think, what, are they crazy? But this is Switzerland, you know, we get upset about these little things. So if they would have let go of the idea, they are not allowed to pass through here, because honestly, it didn't do any damage because it's paved, it was a paved way. And how many people passed through there? Maybe 2 in a week or something, you know, but they spoiled their whole life because they wanted to have it their way. This is a private kind of walkway. So sometimes, you know, even if sometimes we have to see that we have to drop these views, and maybe sometimes even giving up something material in order to, when you see that it doesn't help, like, I don't know. Do you have, like, also here in Switzerland, like when people kind of live together, do you have, you know, where in apartment houses where there's only one washing machine? And, you know, in the basement, and there's a plan, and everybody has to put their name when they want to wash. Wow. Yeah, I'm happy you don't have...
Israelis need their own.
Yeah, I think so. Actually, it's a good thing because you can prevent a lot of anger. Because, you know, then you put your name, you go down, you want to wash, then it's already some washing inside and all these kind of things. But we can get so worked up about these little things because my name is there, it's my turn to wash, and blah, blah, blah. But maybe you have other things like that are a little bit similar. Parking lots. Oh, if somebody's standing on your private parking, oi, lo and behold, isn't it? My poor guy when he comes back. And poor you, because again, you know, you might have even found a parking outside your private parking lot. You still are angry. You pass this car, which is on your parking lot, you still are getting angry. So again, this is not taking the straw out of the house. This is just adding fuel to it and adding to our tendencies and adding to our habits. And then just to ask, okay, you know, as I said before, it's much easier to observe when we remember situations like this. You know, we remember a situation. How did I feel when I was impatient? Then we still feel kind of, you know, but how did I feel afterwards? You know, imagine if that car would have, you know, belongs to, for the Tibetan Buddhist, to the Dalai Lama. And you get angry and you put a note on his window and you have no right to stop here. And then you look out of your window and you see, you know, or Chadar Rinpoche, or I don't know, you know, somebody who, you know, how would you feel? How would you feel, you know? Or your doctor or your dentist that you value very much and you're totally dependent on them. Something like this. These are the things we can do to help, yeah? So our tool for doing this is Shamatha Meditation, or just simply awareness, which is well described in chapter 5 in this text. That whenever a negative emotion arises, what do? Do you remember? We did this last time in Israel, so chapter 5, I think. Yeah. Do you remember what you need to do when a negative emotion arises? The instruction in chapter 5. And he has a whole list of negative emotions: arrogance, anger, attachment, fear, righteousness. Whenever that comes up, I notice, what do I do? Anybody remembers?
I'm suggesting breathing.
Okay, you're suggesting breathing. He's saying something different. He's saying something else, but Consciously breathing is very good also. That's always the first step. That's the best, it's awareness. That's the best thing we can do, but he's telling us something else. Become like a piece of wood. Maybe I've heard this already many times. No? Not familiar with it?
Be like a log.
Become like a log, yeah, or to become like a piece of wood, meaning for the moment, not reacting. A piece of wood, you can put gold leaves on it, doesn't react. You can make pee-pee on top of it, it doesn't react. Now, I'm not saying you should let people pee on you, yeah, I'm not saying this, but it's like, this is, as a Bodhisattva, and then as a Buddha, this is one of the qualities of a Buddha, to have a heart that is totally open towards all sentient beings, whether they pee on him or whether they put gold leaves on him, or massage him or hurt him. So if that's not your goal, then again, some of these verses in these texts are not going to be helpful. Yeah. But just imagine becoming like this. But again, doesn't mean that you don't react. Yeah, you do react to protect yourself, but you react to protect yourself in order for the other not to create negative karma. That would be your motivation to protect yourself. So the motivation is much wider, is much broader. Yeah. So again, for a Bodhisattva, we want to develop love and compassion. We cannot feed into our anger and hatred. It just doesn't fit, because then we become very unhappy people. So because we unconsciously almost, we have these values, we value compassion, we value patience, we value generosity, we value honesty. What else do we value? Question to you guys.
Respect to other people, to other people's opinion.
We value respect.
Kindness, love.
Kindness, love. Okay.
Generosity.
More values?
Patience.
Patience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Generosity.
Generosity, yeah.
Friendship, loyalty.
Friendship, yeah. Fame, comfort, money, pleasure. Also, no? We forget when we talk spiritual here. So, but this is, these are the spiritual values that we have. The others are just worldly values. These are the
loyalty.
Huh?
Loyalty.
Loyalty, yeah. This is a very good one. Honesty, loyalty, being authentic, like having principles that no matter what the situation is, you stick to them with these values. Yeah. So, but then when the situation comes, because the problem is we choose only a few people that we practice these values. Yeah. So if you take these few people against the mass of people that we're not practicing them, or we're not applying them, then this is why we become so confused. Because on one hand, we want to be generous, we want to be loyal, we want to be honest, we want to be this and that, and friendship. But then on the other hand, when we have the occasion to apply it or to practice it, then we don't. So no wonder we're so confused sometimes. Because somehow, it is a bit like, I want to be good, I want to have an open heart, I want to be wise, I want to make the right decisions and all this. This is my kind of inner heart pilot. But then, the ego mind keeps going the other way. So it's like having a car that when you have to go this way, you go like this with the steering wheel. But it's like having a car, you go like this with the steering wheel, and then the car goes this way. What would you do with such a car?
Drive very, very carefully.
Yeah, you would you keep it?
We'll fight it.
Actually, our brain is so clever that it might get used to it. And you might learn very quickly that if you want to go this way, your steering wheel needs to go that way. But this is not what we want, right? We don't want to get used to that mind who keeps going the other way. Yeah, we want to have a mind who then kind of almost naturally goes the way I wanted to go. Yeah. So like this. So if we have this principle of a bodhisattva who wants to be of benefit to all sentient beings, understands that first he has to attain full awakening in order to be able to do that. So we have very, very high goals, all these values, they're very high, and very often we fail, but it's okay. As long as we keep having them, and as long as we keep going, as long as we keep going in that direction, we will have a long, long, long way to go. But that doesn't, it's not so important. That doesn't really matter.
Can I ask a question?
Tom, yes? I move my head because I have to look who is talking first. Okay, go ahead.
Regarding what you just said, I know it's not really the subject of the class, but regarding what you said, that the Bodhisattva's goal is understanding that in order to benefit sentient beings the best way, he has to attain enlightenment. And I wanted to ask, what is the reasoning behind this? And why in being enlightened is the best thing that I can do in order to liberate or to help, let's say, other sentient beings?
Yeah, because you want to help in a lasting way. You want to help them attain enlightenment. So if you yourself, you don't know how to attain enlightenment, how are you going to guide somebody else to that state? If both of us are lost in the forest and I don't know the way, I cannot guide anybody out of this forest. That's why. And then also a fully enlightened being, a Buddha, has many, we don't understand the mind of a Buddha, but the mind of a Buddha is amazing. It's omniscient, has like spontaneous compassion, spontaneous love, spontaneous wisdom, sees things as they are, meaning empty of any inherent existence. So this is what I want. When we talk about having an open heart, Leora Kenneth, what was it that we wanted? Spontaneously, effortlessly. Third one, uninterruptedly. You see, the same way, maybe it makes a bit more sense. Like this, when we take it at our level. I think the same way, all of us, we have a body that I'm not saying is good, it's doing good. It's not doing spontaneously, uninterruptedly, and effortlessly good, but at least it doesn't do any harm on purpose. So it looks as if our body is already okay, is already tamed, isn't it? You're not going around killing, you're not going around stealing, you're not going around claiming having sex with anybody that just comes your way. So the body is already tamed. And we can see that, we take it for granted and say, oh, well, that's normal. So that's probably how a Buddha would say when he has compassion for everybody, hey, but that's normal, But we can see that not everybody has such a body. There are people who kill, there are people who rape, and there are people who take whatever can be taken. So we can already rejoice that this kind of body that we have at the moment is not doing these things on purpose. Again, I'm thinking around four corners. Do you see what I'm trying to get at with this spontaneous, uninterrupted, without having to restrain ourselves? We don't have to restrain ourselves not to kill. We don't have to restrain ourselves not to steal, I hope. We don't have to restrain ourselves not to rape somebody or to do sexual misconduct. This we already have. I think this is a really good thing. What do you think? This is great because we could have another body who has all these desires. Yeah, of course, it's also paired with the mind, with the killing, with the killing and out of anger and all this. But when you look behind the killing, behind the raping, behind the stealing, is it really anger or is it rather attachment? What is it? What do you think?
Attachment.
Yeah. You see, like Lama Zopa at one point, I don't know if you know Lama Zopa. How many of you have listened to teachings of Lama Zopa? Yeah, Leora and all the others know. Okay, Lama Zopa usually comes 2-3 hours late. By the way, the word Zopa means patience in Tibetan, okay? So he's usually 2-3 hours late because he constantly sees people. He never does anything for himself. He doesn't sleep. Wow, this is, and he doesn't get tired, by the way. Yet he has so much energy. And then, of course, he forgets that maybe we don't have that much energy. Sometimes he comes into the teaching hall and then he seems going into another dimension and he starts talking about the benefit of prostrations. And he talks and talks and talks and talks. We're all standing there, like this, 1 hour, 2 hours. And then after 2.5 hours, he looks at, oh, I'm sorry, please sit down, please sit down. So it's a bit like this. He doesn't feel, he doesn't feel pain. And he's had a stroke also, and he relearned to talk properly. And he's absolutely not, how to say, when he couldn't talk, he wasn't ashamed, or he was laughing. When he wasn't able to say a word, he was laughing. When he couldn't swallow the pills, because his lips were also paralyzed, and he's quite an amazing being, but he's difficult to listen to, and yeah.
He laughs a lot. He laughs all the time when he's speaking.
Huh?
I said that he's laughing a lot.
He's laughing all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
all the
also
time
when you are with
speaking.
he's laughing all the time, right? And not laughing because you are not a Buddha, or, not, I don't know if there's a word in English like this. In German, we have like lachen und auslachen. So lachen is you just laugh. Auslachen is you laugh because of somebody's shortcomings. Roni, can you help me? What would be an English good word or a Hebrew word? Maybe in Hebrew you have it, the difference between the two things.
שמחה לאיד.
ההבדל בין לצחוק וללעוג, אני חושבת.
Okay, so you got it? So it's
like to mock?
Yeah, to mock, but with laughter, exactly. Thank you. But in German, it's both words. It's like, lachen and auslachen. So not like this, he just laughs because he has so much joy. So then in one of his teachings, I don't know, 3 o'clock in the morning, and, then you kind of doze off a bit, and then you come back, and then you doze off again. And he said this one sentence, and this is the time I was still attached to food. Yeah, like I was an alcoholic, and then after giving up drinking, I fell into food. So I had these binges that I would start eating. I couldn't stop. So then I would eat for 3 days and then fast for 2 days, and then again and again like this. And it was already more or less kind of getting a bit more normal, but still whenever I had a problem, I would just start eating. So then at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, he said this sentence, and it went into me just like this, because that's how he went. He said, if you let go of desire, freedom comes. And then he said, if attachment doesn't get what it wants, it gets angry. And I thought, wow, this is so true, So these are these masters, they kind of talk and talk and talk, but then they say one thing, and it was exactly for you, and suck, it goes right in. So these 2 sentences, I will never forget them. And I used that whenever the desire for food came up, because I want to be free. I don't want to be under the control of these negative emotions, So whenever that came up, sometimes it really helped when I was kind of imagining his voice and saying, you let go of desire, freedom comes. And if attachment doesn't get what it wants, it gets angry. So if you have a lot of anger, again, that's now the other side also, because we need to look at both sides. If you do have a lot of anger, try to be really kind to yourself and don't deny yourself everything. Like, no, you can't have this, like whatever, the food or the TV or the whatever, because you're being punished. Don't go like this, yeah? If you feel that you have a lot of anger, you have to be very kind to yourself. If you feel that you have a lot of attachment, then you can be more strict and say no. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, because then when the anger comes down, then you can start to work with attachment, but not when, you know, when you are very angry. Okay, so about taking out the straw from the house that is on fire, is that more or less clear? Does that make sense? That we have to work with our attachment, okay? Because we can see if attachment doesn't get what it wants, it gets angry. So if I would have less attachments, I would have less anger. So how can we see that it is attachment? When do we notice that it is attachment? Because not everything we want is attachment. Not everything we like is attachment. Not everybody we love is attached love.
Maybe the irritation and the disbalance and the obsession.
Exactly.
And the exaggeration.
Especially that, the exaggeration, not seeing
Tendency. You know, when you look at yourself inside and you see the dependency.
The dependency, yeah, okay. Then we see that it's attachment when we are dependent on.
I can think of two examples. One, when I suffer when it's taken.
Yeah, exactly.
But also when I don't want to do it and I still do it as a habit. So it happened to me this week. So I saw it in real time, but I still did it.
Mm-hmm.
I stopped someone to repeat himself after 3 times. And I saw it in real, I was impatient.
Mm-hmm.
But I still stopped him.
That's okay, you know, I mean, again, it doesn't mean you don't react, but you don't react with anger. Yeah, and this is it, you know, this is what I keep saying. I think also these emotions that we are, you know, attachment, anger, jealousy, and all this, they will arise almost until the path of seeing, actually, because the seeds and the tendencies are still there. What we can do at the moment, we cannot stop them from arising, but we cannot follow them. We can recognize them, and then the appropriate attention, like taking the straw away from the fire, we look inside. How does it feel? That's the best one, you know. How do I experience this anger? And for that, you need to look away from the object and you need to look inside. And then that's taking the fuel away, because as long as you let your attention with the object, then it keeps burning. The anger keeps going. So that's one thing. Is and we will have these negative emotions arising. What we can do is not to collaborate with them. You said you still stopped him, so you still used your voice, so that's okay. But you know, we can also say to somebody, unless it's somebody who is dement, yeah, you wouldn't say, oh, you already said that, because they don't know, they forgot. Yeah. But if it's somebody else who can still kind of be a bit more careful and not repeat themselves 3 times, we can say, oh, you already told me, that's fine. You know, we can say this in a very kind way, that's fine. So, or did you say it in a very unkind way, Leora?
No, I stopped that person. It was a girl. I stopped her, but immediately at the same time I saw what I was doing. And I said, look, I'm not stopping you because I'm impatient, which is not correct. Because I'm impatient with you, but I stopped you because I understood what you told me, and I know that you know that. And she said, yeah, that's right. So I said, okay, so let's move on. That was the tone of the voice, but still, I would have liked to be more patient and give it 2 more minutes and just shut up.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
So this is, you know, this is the magic moment. The magic moment is you notice what's going on and you pause, you stop. That's the thing, but we're so quick with reacting. Yeah. So this is what we have to learn. When something comes, Okay, then the red light, stop. But it's a difficult habit to develop because the habit of reacting immediately is very, very strong. So this is what I'm saying. We shouldn't be surprised, you know, when these negative emotions arise. It's residues. It's habits from other actions that were going kind of in the same way. So another thing that attachment does, it projects. It projects that I am happy because I have this object, the situation, or the person. And it totally looks like this. And we totally forget that we were not terribly unhappy before we had this person, or this situation, or this object. We were okay. And when we lose it, as Netta was saying, you know, we forget. You know, we go like, oh, I can't live without that, and it's terrible. But we forget, but there was a time when I didn't have it. And actually, I was okay. So that would be reality. The rest is not reality. The rest is total fantasy that now I can't live without this.
I know that I am attached to something. That when I have it, instead of being happy with it, I am afraid. I am afraid that I will lose it.
Okay, I was just
worried.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you, Noah. I was just coming to that because that's another antidote. In order to get rid of the fear of losing it, you have to think that you are going to lose it again and again and again and again. So we see impermanence, because when we are afraid of losing it, we don't want to recognize that we will lose it at one point. And then we're not in touch with harmony. We're not with reality. You know, we are in fantasy world that if I cling strong enough unconsciously, I will not lose it. And then the fear comes because, of course, we know we're going to lose it at one point. If it's people, either we die or they die. And when we think about, hey, but it's impermanent, yes, at one point I will lose it. You will get used to the idea, actually. This is quite funny. You know, this was another verse, I think, with patience, where Shantideva says, nothing gets more easy when you get used to it. Because when we start to look at impermanence in the right way, we start to value the things much more. And we start to appreciate that, okay, I'm going to lose it at one point, but for the moment, I still have it. Whereas if we take this fear into our whatever it is, relationship or the object, then it spoils the relationship. There's no appreciation, there's no joy of having it and all this. And again, I can just use a very normal example. We think it's not working that way, but it does work that way. Of course, first there's fear coming for quite a while, but keep at it. Keep thinking, yes, it's impermanent. At one point I will lose it. It hurts, it really hurts. Don't be afraid of the pain, because that's the pain of attachment and the pain of not seeing, not wanting to see reality. So then a very simple example there is also, if I have a very good friend that I haven't seen for many, many years, and I'm attached to her, or I love her, I like her, and she calls me up and she says, I am passing through your city, but I only have 2 hours. So what do I say? Oh, no, 2 hours is not worthwhile. I don't want to see you for 2 hours. I love you so much. I need more than 2 hours. We wouldn't say that. You know, we would go there so happy, knowing that it only lasts 2 hours, and then spending real quality time. Whereas when we think that we will be together forever, we quarrel, we get upset about little things, what they do to us, we kind of want them in another way. I think the Tibetans say, what do they say? What is it? Friendships or friends? No, the Tibetans say you should stay when you go to visit, okay? You should stay with your friends as long as they accept you the way you are. When they start wanting to change you, it's time to go.
Oh, now I want to ask something.
Huh?
You just said the thing that I want to ask about.
Okay. You have to talk a little bit louder, or maybe it's my mic.
Okay.
Oh,
Maybe
now it's okay.
Now it's okay?
It's the loudspeaker who is maybe.
Okay. I took your homework to another place. I thought I heard something else or something more.
That's
But you said, look if sometimes, I'm not sure about the words, but that's what I understood. Look if sometimes anger is if and when it is helping you, or it is good,
yes.
maybe. Or it
yeah,
is,
this is
yeah?
what I said. Yeah.
It was also, okay. So I had the occasion, a great occasion to look at it, and it connected to what you said. I hope I'll be clear. I had a conversation with someone that is very close to me, that has a lot of anger and frustration and many things over herself. And she was angry at me. She was blaming me. And it's not the first time. If we talk about attachment, maybe I'm attached to these things. And she was blaming me that I'm not calling enough, and I'm not there for her enough, and that I'm a lot, I think. And I was apologizing and saying that I love her and telling her that I need time for myself and with everything else. And so I was calm and trying to make her less. But then I started to be angry, and I said, it's not right that you are angry at me. And I can be angry at you too. I can say things, I can find things that you are not perfect on my side, and somehow it seemed I didn't feel that good. I became angry. At the beginning I wasn't. But somehow it felt like it made her calm. I felt tired after. But it's like she needed me to be back when I was apologizing, when I was staying calm and understanding.
Again, Hadar, I cut you because
okay.
To say, this whole thing is not about manipulating other people. Why we are practicing patience and all this is not so that people do what we want them to do. And this is what we forget sometimes, because then you're practicing patience, but the result that comes from this way is no good. So we say, oh, it's not working. Yeah. So, and short-term anger works really well. Of course, short-term it works well because people are, are getting afraid or something like that, but it can also break a lot of things. Yeah, so this is what I mean. This is why we take so much refuge in anger, because short-term it works well, especially in Israel. If you need to get something and you get angry. So, but again, it's difficult for us, I think, to show anger, but not to be angry. It's very difficult. As you say, at the beginning, you manifest anger, but then it doesn't take long and we are angry like this. So, but don't forget, we are practicing these things for the sake of being patient, not for the sake of even doing something to the other person. Yeah. This is sometimes what we forget because we are so goal oriented. Whatever we do, it has to have some result. Yeah. So the result here is when you have a situation, you're not getting angry. Whatever the other person does, it doesn't matter. So when I say, when the situation is, can I be in that situation without anger? That was the homework. Not will it make the other person do what I want them to do. That's going a step too far.
Okay.
Yeah. So but it's as I'm saying, it's difficult. It's very difficult. So anyway,
Can I say something? I would like to share.
Yeah.
To share something that connected to being patient with me, with myself, because I'm very much attached to behave as I think I have to behave, and to be and to listen and to be generous all the time. And once I don't do it, so something is wrong. I don't understand why I don't behave as I should, as I want to be, and then what I found with the help of someone, to be really compassionate towards myself and to,
yeah, of course,
to accept my impossibility to be always as I should. And when you talk now, just now, about knowing that it will be repeated again and again, it makes me a bit kind of, I accept the possibility that it will happen again and again, that I won't be able to behave exactly as I want to be. And that's it. And
yeah,
the moment I understood it and accepted it, so frustration of not being able to behave as I want to be just diminished, just disappeared. And I was
exactly.
like that.
Exactly, because we don't have control over the mind. This is what I'm saying. As long we have residues of anger, when the situation comes, sometimes it arises, sometimes it doesn't arise. We don't have control. So we don't need to be angry at ourselves because we don't choose to be angry. You know, this is also what Shantideva says in one of the verses. Anger just arises, just you know, like smoke comes when there's fire. It's like it's normal. So the compassion for ourselves and the forgiveness for ourselves is so important. By going into the situation also and saying, hey, if I could repeat the whole thing, would I do it? No. So why being angry at myself for that? And we're not Buddhas yet. You know, we know where we want to go. We know what we want to be, but whoa, we have a long way to go. But that's okay. You know, we're trying, and that's good enough. So the thing with the it's good enough is also we don't use. I don't know. You know, again, I don't know. I don't know how you are. I'm talking to a whole group. This is quite individual. There are some people who say it's good enough. It's good enough. They're terribly lazy, never do anything. So they shouldn't hear this now. But I think for most of us who are so ambitious also and so wanting to be perfect and all this, sometimes it's also, hey, it's good enough.
So I think in my case, I think that maybe in my case, the straw is this self-criticism.
Yeah, yeah,
so
exactly.
I should take this out.
Yeah, exactly. That you learn to love yourself, accept yourself the way you are. So that's what we're going to finish with now. And we're going to...
May I ask something?
Oh, yeah, Michal, I really wanted to finish on time, but yeah, please go ahead.
Just relating to what Hadass said and asking, maybe we will leave it for another time, your answer. But it seems to me, when I listen to her, that in this case, the anger toward her girlfriend was the reaction that her friend needed, because she said, Hadass, that she calmed down the friend.
Yeah.
Hadass got anger, but the friend maybe got the borders that she needed so much by throwing toward the Hadass all the thing, you're that and that and that. So maybe it depends on the context.
Yeah, of course it depends on the context, but usually we take refuge in anger far too quickly. And it just repeats, you know, we're just repeating the habit that whenever something doesn't go the way we want it to go, chuck. And short term, yes, you're right. Short term, it works. This is what I'm saying. But I don't know, you know, nutnicky people, okay, you make them calm down, they'll be nutnick the next time again. It's like, where do we take this audacity from, wanting to change other people? This is what I'm asking, you know. Why do we have this view that I have to tell somebody else what they should do? She wants more time on me. You just say, look, I'm sorry, I don't have time. And you let her go on and on and on. We cannot solve these problems. We cannot make people, you know, at the moment, we can maybe help a little bit. As you said, the woman calmed down. Do you think she really gave up the view that Hadar is not giving her enough time? Do you think she gave up that view? Hadar, what do you think?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I would say no. You know, people are nutnicks, they're nutnicks. What can you do? It's like, okay, yeah. No, Nikki, people give them the opportunity to do something for somebody else that they find, you know, because what they're trying to do, they're trying to fill a hole they have in themselves, which you will never be able to fill because they don't love themselves. And they need that love from outside because they're not really in contact with themselves. So if you give them something to do for you, maybe that will help, but only maybe, you know. If we ordinary people could control people that they do exactly the right thing so that they don't suffer, if that would be possible, the Buddhas would have done long ago with us. But everybody has to do their own job. Everybody has to purify their own mind. But you see, we're talking about conventional reality here. So whatever I am saying, you can bring about in a very reasonable way. Because we have this dualistic view and the glass is always half full and half empty. Yeah. Okay, so let's do some maybe kind thoughts towards ourselves that we cannot change other people. Okay. And as Netta said, don't forget the humor. Don't make this, you know, so serious and all this. Do it like a play. You know, everything is like a play. Everything is like a dream. Everything is protected from our mind. It's not the way that it looks. It's not the way that it appears. But even though everything is just a game, we have to play it seriously. Now, I don't know if you understand these two levels, okay? It's just a game. Everything is impermanent. Everything will fall apart. Everything changes. Everything is very much kind of dependent on many, many conditions. And we have very little control. We can either go along with the flow and look after our own mind so that we are happy with ourselves. You know, sometimes we don't dare to be happy with ourselves because we think then we become selfish, but it's so necessary. Because if you're not happy with yourself, you won't be happy with others. And whether you're happy with yourself or not, nobody else can tell you that. You're the only one who can see it. When you're relaxed, open, not looking for something to do or something to read or something to eat, and you're just kind of very spacious, then you are happy with yourself. When you're proud, arrogant, because wow, look at what I've done, blah, 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 then you're not happy with yourself. Because then you need other people to compare it with. And this state of mind, this spaciousness and openness, you will discover it in meditation. Then you will get a taste of it. And then you go, this is what I want. Okay, like for Leora, it takes a long time to get there, but I have tasted it. And this is what I want. When there is absence of anger, fear, depression, attachment, wanting something, whatever, where there's awareness and very spacious. And you cannot will it. It doesn't come from here. It comes when the mind is very still. And whenever there is, like a klesha arising, the mind starts to flutter and we don't see clearly. Like the lake, you know, and a lake can reflect exactly what is there. If there's waves, it still reflects, but it doesn't reflect what is there, you know. But it's, you know, there's so many pitfalls in this. On one hand, you have to accept yourself the way you are. On the other hand, again, you want to become a Buddha. And so you need to know what to apply when. Because all these methods of the Buddha are like a big, big pharmacy with many, many, many antidotes for many, many, many sicknesses. And the more you study and the more you get to know your mind and the methods, the more you will know what to apply when. Sometimes we have to be very strict with ourselves and say, hey, come on, get going. What is this? Otherwise, other times it's, hey, come on, it's good enough. And yeah, the more we get to know ourselves, the more we know what to apply. But it's complicated. This is why Buddhism is not that really popular. You see, there's not that many people who really practice Buddhism because it's complicated. You have to do it on your own. and kind of you have to study, you have to really know, you have to discuss, you have to do this, but it's real fun. I mean, it's so fascinating. It's so fascinating to really get to know your own mind. I mean, what better can we do? Because we want to be happy, and we have no other choice but to work with our own mind. Because if your mind is not okay, even everybody around you, no nutniks, no angry people, only happy people around you, if your mind is not okay, doesn't help you. You're still not okay. So the only mind we can really change is our own. But we do this with the wish to be able to benefit others, at least not to harm them. And then we have the capacity and the strength and the wisdom also to really know what to do, whether now to get angry at this person or whether not to get angry. You get angry at your children sometimes. Why? Because with your anger, you want to protect them from doing something stupid because they don't listen. So that's not what I call anger, you know. Anger is always a wish to harm. Anger is a mind that doesn't care about the happiness of the other person. So again, you know, it takes a lot of study of the mind and to know inside what is going on. We think when the result is good outside with the other person, we think then that mind was positive. That's not like this. That's not like this at all. Okay. So what do you want to discuss next week? I think this one, you know, maybe you can discuss, because I won't be there, these situations when you used anger. You know, I think I did an exercise once with school kids in Absor, and we talked about the advantage of putting others, the happiness of others before yours, and the disadvantage of putting others' happiness before your happiness. They only found disadvantages. They couldn't find even one advantage. This is how we are, you know, because we don't see where the suffering comes from. We don't listen to what the Buddha says. The Buddha doesn't say suffering comes from your neighbor who makes a lot of noise. The Buddha says suffering comes from negative emotions when we do actions with negative emotions. So what we're doing now, this comes then in the next verses, you know, we start to think, okay, what I am creating now, this will bring the result in the future. Do I want this result? Maybe now I get this person to do what I want them to do, but, you know, acting with, anyway, however we act is like throwing a boomerang. At one point they will come back, and then it comes back as positive or negative. But anyway, I have to stop here because I don't know if I remember next time, but anyway, about the boomerang, maybe we talk about the boomerang. So again, you know, you can maybe encourage yourselves and start sharing about the benefit of patience. You know, you discuss these things, or Tom, maybe you're the discussion leader, so you think of something what you want them to discuss. Okay, it's your responsibility. Okay, so we just spend a few minutes. One thing to be really happy about what we are discussing, you know, just to hear these things which are not worldly views. These are spiritual views, the views of the Buddha. And the Buddha very often does not agree with what the world says, which is ego-based. Not at all. So we ourselves, we don't have to accept these things. As the Buddha said, you know, whatever I'm saying, take it, think about it, use it, and then see if it works. If it works after a while, then keep using it. If it doesn't work, discard it. Don't use it. You know, it's not black and white. Everything, as Michal was saying, everything is relative. It really depends on the context. It's exactly like this. And that's what makes it complicated. Buddhism is not a handbook. It has many methods, but we need to apply what, when. So for the moment, we can just be happy that we are discussing these things and we're hearing it. And that we can give ourselves the freedom to kind of to accept it or not to accept it. You know, even if you say, oh no, I don't want to be patient, I want to keep my anger, I will still like you. I will still see you as my friends. Even if the anger is kind of going towards me, it's fine. Everybody has the right to do what they want to do. And then again, loving kindness first towards ourselves. May I be protected. May I be safe. May I be protected from physical and mental harm. Just think these thoughts and then see what kind of emotions, what kind of sensations are coming up in your heart. Don't go why and what and this and that. Just that thought, a kind thought. May I be protected from physical and mental harm. May I be strong, healthy, loving, and peaceful. We're not saying you have to be like this. We're just saying, may I? With a lot of kindness and a lot of patience. Wouldn't it be wonderful? May I be strong, healthy, loving, and peaceful. If you want to be like this. And may I be able to live my life with joy and ease, even if other people don't do what I want them to do. That's fine. Give them the right to do what they want to do, as long as it's not harming anybody. And then we visualize or we think, that our kindness, our love, as a small ball of light in our heart chakra, in the center of the upper body. And we know that love can grow, compassion can grow. So we think that the light is expanding, is filling up our whole body, so our body becomes a body of light. And we know we have these energies. When you're in a good mood and totally relaxed, it has an effect on other people. When you come already tense and impatient, that also has an effect. We call it vibes. So you think that this light that now is filling your whole body is kind of going out into all the 10 directions, touching each and every being and bringing each and every being that wish. If you have particular problems with one person, you take that one person and you send them that light with the wish. If you don't have particulars, goes for everybody. May you be happy. May you be safe. May you be protected from physical and mental harm. And we feel the light, this kind of out of joy is coming out of our body, going in all the directions and kind of lighting up all the dark corners of this world. We would have that capacity. A Buddha can do that. Like the Dalai Lama, he makes 10,000 people all at once happy when they see him. A seemingly ordinary human being. And we think, may all beings be safe and protected from physical and mental harm. May all beings be able to live their lives with joy and ease, even if the conditions are difficult. It really depends on our mind. And then the thought, may I be able to contribute to their safety, to their happiness, to their well-being. That's the purpose of my life. So whoever hears me, sees me, touches me, kind of thinks about me, or even talks about me, may it only be of benefit to them. Okay. Thank you very much. Are you anybody celebrating kind of going into the next year? Or is it absolutely not important? You already had New Year, I know, so then probably you won't. But anyway, if you do, if you stay up and drink champagne and eat caviar and all these kinds of things, then just think about, how fortunate we are that we can celebrate. Well, you're in lockdown, are you?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, we're also, the center is closed here, so we do everything. The whole Tara retreat was on Zoom. The Tara night will be on Zoom, so kind of okay. But then, especially if you feel lonely, it's really good to, if you feel lonely, then it's really good to send out the light to everybody, to send out the people who feel lonely and are not safe and are refugees and don't have anything to eat and all this. So then the heart might open a little bit again. And to really become aware how fortunate we are. Okay, we can't see each other at the moment, but still there are people who accept me the way I am, people who love me the way I am. How wonderful. People who allow me to love them the way I am. What a miracle. So then,
Before we stop, may I just, I forgot to do it in the beginning. I just posted my email address.
Oh, yeah.
I received from Anila the calm meditation to calm the body, to relax the body before.
Ah, right. Yeah, last time.
So if anyone wants this text, then they can send me a message on that. Send me an email, and I will send them this text. So just for you to know.
איפה המייל שלך, תום?
We did this kind of body meditation last time, tensing the body and then releasing it to feel how it feels when it's relaxed. I think what you can also email to Tom is your suggestions about topics of the discussion group. So, or questions, that you want to look at, and then you try to figure it out. Yeah? For
Tom's mail is in
for
the
Tom,
chat.
you will receive 50 emails, huh?
Someone just asked for Tom's email address. It's in the chat.
It's in the chat, yes. Okay, so you have to open the chat and then you have to look at it and maybe copy it, and that's it. Okay, thank you very much. And
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I think on the 13th, yeah? Something like this.
Thank you.
Thank
you very much, Anila.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you,
Leora,
everyone.
sleep well. Leora Price, go to sleep.